And we are live. Hey guys, we are Huang, and
And Heiko, and we're the Essence of Truth podcast.
which is all about the freedom and happiness that everybody wants but do not know how to get.
Exactly. And today we talk about New Year's resolutions and not in a way that, probably most people do. Today we really want to dive deep into why what you've learned about resolutions actually sets you up to fail. And when you look on statistics, 92% of people making resolutions, they fail at them. And so I think this is a very important thing because if you want to do something, you want to succeed. And so let's do that. And one big thing I've noticed, or what I've seen in people a lot, is first off, they're setting resolutions kind of because they think they have to, they should, because maybe their friends, family, somebody else is doing it. So they, okay, I'm want to be, more fit, want to lose some weight. And the first thing is when I'm asking people, like, do you actually really want that? When they're honest, usually it's no, or it's like undefined, there's nothing really they are really passionate about. They would like to do this, but it's not really a drive. And so to me, this is the first signal that they're gonna fail. Because if there's a hump, if there's any kind of resistance, which we all know it's going to come up, they will stop doing it. And so, this is where all people always talk about, like, you need to why, you need to have the reason for it, which is absolutely true. But I would like to look at it from a different perspective, because instead of looking at, okay, who you should be, right, you should look a different way, or you should be a certain kind of level of success or whatever. I think it interferes with who you think you are, what you believe about yourself, or where you're at right now. Because, like, if you always see those sexy people on movies, or models, everyone, like, the guy is always shredded, or the women, like this perfect figure, and you feel like you should be that way, but in reality you feel most comfortable sitting on the couch eating some chips and watching Netflix. Then there's a complete resistance and a complete opposite in identities of who you feel like you are and who you think you should be. And so this is already a huge problem causing there. So without even starting anything, you already have this internal conflict. What I have found most works magically well is when you really define who you want to be, who you need to become for the thing you actually want to happen, whatever that might be. Like in my case, I hated my job, right? And I was a couch potato and, playing games and stuff like that. But I didn't want that. I wanted to travel. Like the first time I left my country to somewhere else, I had such an emotional reaction. Like I truly felt alive, that I knew I wanted more of that. But of course, when you're having a job, what do you have? You have like your 2 to 3 weeks a year, which wasn't enough for me. So I wanted to become a world traveler, which back then seemed to be far out because I had no money, no time, nothing really to actually make it happen. But I set an identity goal. I want to be this world traveler. And I didn't know how. I didn't know how, any kind of way how I should make this possible. I didn't even know what I would need to do that. But I had this thing. And this was so compelling. When everybody talks about the why, it was so compelling to me. I knew I would find a way. And it took me 15 years to actually make it happen. But it was always there. That was my North Star. And I explored different kind of ways until I actually reached that point. And so what I'm getting to here is, from my experiences, when there's any kind of should, and you feel like you should to be a certain kind of way or something, doesn't work, throw it away. Don't even start making resolutions. I would always start with, who am I now? Who do I believe I am? How do I see myself now? Am I happy with that? Because if I am, why would I change? Or if is there something that even it feels like it's impossible for me, but it's out there. and it feels like a calling. It feels like an inner drive to have this. Would be the greatest thing to have that. Then this is something to aim for. Like I don't know. I mean, Wang, you've done so many things. I'm actually very curious about, because you traveled and you moved and you learned so many things. I'm actually very curious about your perspective on
You know, your story about like take you 15 year and you're able to make it, right? So that is persistent, that is perseverance, and I really want to honor you for that. Hey, you reminds me of the Rock in that terms, right? I feel like when I say I get things done, it gets done. And yeah, I've been listening to one of the book lately, and he was mentioned a couple of times, which is someone I admire. And so, as I hearing your story, right? When we are born here, we have a certain gift in us. Right? Some people are gonna be taller, some others gonna be, like less tall, and others gonna be more, like big and muscular, like in the beginning, and others gonna be, skinnier. I was one of the skinnier guy, so different than and also short. So it was funny. So with also the same with the gift of mind and the gift of heart, right? Our passion, right? And some people be more made for artistic poetry, and others will be more for scientific thing like chemistry and that stuff. um, and yeah, the closer it is toward our gift, right? The easier the higher the chance we're able to make it, which is returning to what you were saying, right? We believe that we're supposed to be this or we're supposed to be that, and that it's so far away from our gift of of heart or of mind or of the physical itself, until well we need to walk that path, right? Because sometimes we believe that we are this or we are that, and then we travel that and we're gonna fall flat on our face. um at, at least we have connected with that part, somewhere along the line. Only when we're able to connect to that part of who we are, and that is where the passion, right, the drive, the love for whatever we do comes out, and that's what allows you to be successful, right? Succeed in that. um, I remember now going back to my story. I remember it's funny when in martial arts, there are southern style and northern style, right? I don't remember which one was the long fist and the short fist. So the long fist is more, like it's more very, very long, right? Make long and big movement, and short is more powerful, short itself. So iron fist. And I am physically made more for which is my gift is more for the short fist, which I just discovered a couple of a couple months ago when I starting again with the new form. Before that, I was doing the long fish, and it take me so much longer. And that is the thing, guys. Our human potential is limitless, which is extremely cool. Whatever we are gifted with, it will determines how long, or like how long or how fast we get there, right? And the key to that is the passion, because it will allow us to the passion and the love, which allow you to succeed and the rock to succeed, right? And many others to get there. So for me, the long fish it takes so much longer. Everybody see me grovel on the ground when I have no energy left, and it was horrible. But after times, right, even it take longer, it does become better, and the speed it become better is not fast, but it's like it's slow, but it does get better. And because I was able to hang on to it, I get to I get to be able to go Switzerland and compete with that, which is pretty cool experience, to see other really really amazing athlete um, do that. And now when I returns and I do a different form, and which is the short fist, it feels so much more, I don't know, so much more power because it's more aligned with who I am. And when we align our gift with our heart, it gets even faster, right? So yeah, it's just so crazy. And yeah,
I love that you shared it because I think this is a very important part because I think this is the part that I was kind of missing before, but I didn't find the words for it because I mean I talk from my passion, right? I had this thing, I had my North Star, but what if
yeah,
you don't have that? Or like what if there's something, but the way you have to this doesn't really like it's kind of hard, right? And I love that you shared that because you knew your goal. You had this other form for that wasn't the best, but you hang on to it. And I think this is a very important part because even if you have something and you have, let's just take the example because it's so likely, right? That you want to lose weight or you want to get fit and you have this kind of program that you chose for whatever reason. And now you find out, oh, it's harder than you thought. Or maybe, there are some difficulties or something. So even if maybe at some point along the line, you find maybe something that's more aligned, but hanging on to it, that teaches so much because I think it's more just than just the physical part that you learn. I think there's this important thing where even though it doesn't feel super aligned, but you hang on to it, you keep on moving, you keep improving. That teaches you a mental strength and the perseverance and the discipline that on the other way you most likely wouldn't develop. And this is like this mental power that comes in that you can then bring into every other area of life. Because I think the most important power, so to speak, we can have nowadays. It's not the physical power or anything. It's staying power, being able to hang on to it, even though it seems like there's a challenging time, or it seems like it doesn't work out. Of course, we want to look into okay, do I need to change my approach? Do I need to do some things? But what I see in people is they change too quickly. They try something, oh, it's getting uncomfortable. I try something else, try something else, try something else. So they never actually make progress. And so at some point, they're just like, oh, it's not for me. And they give up. And so I really want to thank you for sharing that because I think this is so important. And I actually love coming from the point of like life happens for you. I love actually that you had the other form before because this taught you this mental power.
yeah. It is, isn't it? And it's so important. You know, there's a saying. I heard, I think a couple of months ago, or was it? No, actually, a year ago. How you do anything is how you do everything. And yeah, because I do that form, right, in the beginning, in that way I get to explore the possibilities, and also I get to explore the, oh yeah, you mean like this persevering, this persistent, and then our body, our way of movement changes a lot too. Do you know that after you learn certain martial arts and you get to a certain level, right, which is get better, and not just once a month for 1 hour, and you do it for 10 years, that's just literally nothing. I know some people do that. So yeah, when you get to a certain level, your body changes in a different way. Your way of movement is the same, and this apply for, again, other part of yourself as well, your character, right? Imagine when you have adapted a certain habits, right, adapted certain way of thinking, certain way of doing things, it's going to be the same. It's like your mind, your perspective, your experience changes forever. And yeah, it just really, really, yeah, yeah,
And to me, that shift really comes from identity, whether there's physical or because like I've noticed this for myself or even with my clients is like when there's a real identity shift happening, you see the body language. They don't even make this consciously. Their body language literally changes on the spot, and then they keep on it, and you see that where like the first 1 2 3 sessions, they or especially at the beginning of the call, you see them in a certain kind of way, but then after, it's almost like a different person jumps on the call, and you can hear that in voice. You can the thought patterns change, the words they are using changes, right? There is so much that we don't even take in consideration. We look into the mirror and think like, oh, like have some belly fat. Right? There's this one spot we look at instead of like, hey, what are all the other things? And I'm like, it's funny because just like a month ago now, I really started into body alignment, body structure. I'm really looking into where am I out of balance. And this is when I noticed where like, okay, actually, never really notice these parts. But like for instance, with my shoulders, like you probably don't see it now, but when I'm in the mirror, there's like one like the shoulder here is shorter from like overusing over years with work and stuff. And so like even when I'm staying straight, like this shoulder's partially further up because it gets pulled further. So I need more stretching here to get to my natural point again, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so there's all these things, but like other things where like then my hips slightly different. And so
Yeah.
like I need to do some stretching there to bring the balance back. But I also noticed the more I'm doing it, like I'm automatically feeling better. The energy is flowing. Like I'm feeling having more energy after just doing a couple stretches, the right stretches, and everything comes in alignment. And like, wow, what's happening now? But like before, whenever I did any kind of stretches that you get with workout programs, and like, yeah, okay, it doesn't feel comfortable, right? You have to do it, and that's it. When I do those ones now, I'm really bringing myself in alignment. Man, I feel amazing after that. And so this is the point where also coming back to instead of just doing anything because you see it or because other people are doing it, what do you need specifically for your body, for your situation, for the skill set, the mind, whatever kind of thing you need for whatever you want to achieve, right? And I think this is so important to really look for details and to choose something and to stick for it at least for a while so that you can actually make experiences from that before you can then decide, okay, maybe I actually really need a different path here. But I think it's also not just with personal development or something, even with objects. When you have something that doesn't really work well, like it's with phones, or it's slower than before because they do those updates when the phone is getting slower, so you buy a new one. Or it doesn't work properly anymore, or doesn't look as great anymore, so you buy a new thing. Where like before, when I was young, we tried to repair things because new stuff either wasn't there or was way too expensive or other kind of things. I don't even see that happening anymore. It's like, oh, okay, just buy new, just buy new, just buy new. And of course, times are changing and stuff, but it's always a thing of like, let's look deeper. Like just as an instance, the other day my PlayStation controller was kind of weird. Like it automatically moved in the game to the left side, and so first thought, I want to be honest, first thought is, oh, I need to buy a new one. But then I looked into, okay, actually, I want to understand what is actually happening there. And then there's just this tiny little part somewhere inside that might be just getting dirty over time. So I looked online how to, handle things, opened the thing up, cleaned it, and it was fixed. And it took me 7 minutes to do that. So, like looking deeper, fixing it, and then, like now I know how to do that. So next time it's happening, I do it again, 7 minutes, boom, it's fixed, and I don't need to buy a new controller. It just fits perfectly for this example.
Wow. I the point about keeping at it, right? Instead of giving up just at the first try, I have a story about that too, and also about I love them both, by the way, and also about the part about we just get something like new and it just broke, right? It doesn't function as it's supposed to, and we just want to buy a new thing. That is kind of like how we are right now, which remind me a different story about a bike. Which, do you know that here in Netherlands, I think a bike is itself is cheaper than when we buying things apart and we fixing them. You know that it's like, yeah, that's how I experienced that. I was like, what is this world going to? That's my thoughts. Which is so so strange. A bike is cheaper than the material we, yeah, okay. So and the other side, right, is about the what was it again? Oh yeah, we try it once or twice and then we quit. Right now, imagine. I remember when I was first started with with training at the gym and I started to do wushu. The first night, I have muscle ache like all over at places that I don't even know existed. And I'm like, hang on, do I have muscle there? How is it? There is no muscle there. And then of course I muscle ache. So and afterward, right, of course, the next time I train, it's get lessened, right, and I get lessened slower. And imagine that's all because it's have so much muscle ache, I'm just gonna quit and stop. So it's the same thing for your progress, right, for the things that you try out or do things in the beginning. It's gonna take some time to get used to, right, and when you give it some time and then see, how it's work out for you, instead of just quitting at the very beginning, and see that like not only apply to the things that we do, right, the knowledge, the information, the teaching, also with the but also with the friendship or the relationship, because we believe we don't treat each other as deep as as a human thing anymore. We're just like, oh, like, yeah, I don't like you, I still have a next guy or next girl, or next friend, or next, I don't know, next whatever it is. How about giving each other a little bit of the chance, and just like you giving yourself a chance to what, to experience. Either it's gonna be love, gonna be challenge, so you can grow in strength, or is it the gift of that you want to give yourself is avoidance? Just keep avoiding this and avoiding that, and what you I remember this is one of the things that Tony say. You bring yourself, to your next thing, to your next relationship, to your next whatever it is, and you right were able to experience the growth in, hang on, I'm opening my controller for the PlayStation. Like, oh, I experienced growth. See how fast and how easy it to fix. And it doesn't cost me that much either. So the mentality change, imagine the wealth that you were really taking away from yourself, just, by just literally by avoiding things. And yeah, avoiding yourself by looking for a new thing. Um, yeah, yeah, which is totally not you at all.
Perfectly said. And like you just nailed it at the end, like it's not you at all, right? Because I find it all ties also again down to identity. Because I find the more you at least try, the more references you get about yourself. And for instance, with this controller thing, like for me, it was actually a big celebration because when I was young, like I was the youngest, right? I was the fourth child. And so when there was something to be fixed, then everyone else was there fixing it. And even me just looking and say, oh no, you're in the way, just get away from it. And so for a long time I had this belief of like, oh, like I can't fix things. Like I never learned it, can't do it, so okay. So I just tried it. I mean I tried it once before that didn't work out, so but I tried it again. And hey, look at that, like it worked out and it was super easy. And so, like now, if the next time coming, I'm feeling confident that I can do it again because I did it. And even if it would be a different kind of thing I have to open, I would still feel much more confident because now I have a reference of something because I did it. And so, but it all comes down to looking deep. Like what you said, patience. Being patient. That oh no, I need to buy new stuff. No, first calming down, looking into hey, what can I do about this? Or if it's in a relationship, like because of I think people get too emotional, especially in relationships. Like you're having a fight, it's like and you already having thought about okay, leaving the relationship, searching for a new one. While like, hey, look into like, hey, what? Why did it even happen? Did I maybe miscommunicate something? Can I do something about it? Maybe like looking deeper, and there's no harm in that. And it's kind of funny because as you were talking, I kind of like the whole conversation we have. I put into three P's. We have the patience part, right? Being patient, looking deeper, kind of thing. We have the persistence, where you keep on you hanging on to things and not just immediately go away. And then we have the progress, which comes from the first two P's, because then you can look deeper. Then you can actually make experiences. And then you get to the point where you can actually decide, do I really need to change here? Or was it me the whole time just needing to learn the skill, getting in my own way, miscommunicating, whatever the situation might be, right? Whether it's relationship or other kind of things. And so, man, dude, this is what I want to take out of this. I gonna maybe even make something out of the three P's: patience, persistence, progress.
Man, I love that. patient, persistent progress is so important these days. Can I call them like virtue? Are they like virtue, right? Or valued? Well, um, well, I would say them both, right? Because anything take time because nature itself it takes time. Without patience, right? As we see around the world, when ground, I don't know if you guys know this, but when the earth, we harvest, we plant some things, right? Either vegetable or whatever, and we harvest that, like rice. And then afterward, after harvest, we need to allow the ground either immediately after or at least sometime after, so they have the chance to absorb all of the nutrients so that the earth can replenish itself again, and it takes patience. Now imagine, if you were to if you were to keep on doing that without giving it time to rest, right? So patient, you need to be patient because the earth or the nature is has its own time, right? And getting back to your thing, right? Whatever you try out, whatever you do, relationship, new skill, new knowledge, new courses, new program, it takes time, and whatever time it takes, it kind of depend on you, right? Your internal nature, how much it will take you to absorb a certain type of skill, or how long it will take you to be able to learn about this relationship or the way to interacting. It's patient. And when you're able to be persistent with it, like after being patient you persist, right? Instead of like, oh, I'm giving up, right? which is which is, you guys know the book about, I think, um uh as a man think of, or was it man search for meaning? No, it was something else. But it's talking about someone that's pursuing goal, and but he literally stopped 3 feet of goal. That I don't remember the book. As we Think and Grow Rich, I think it was the name of the book. And that it need to be persist, right? Hey, we need to persist through that so that we can get there. And after that experience, what does the guy do? In the book it say, I would never gonna allow anything to stop me again. I'm never gonna allow such situation to happen with me again. So who knows, guys? Your prize could just literally be a few feet away if you're not persist, because that in the end is the result what you talking about.
Exactly, exactly. And I think this is, you perfectly summarized it and even gave a great example with that. So thank you so much for that. And I think this is really, this is what I want to take out of this, because I think it's a beautiful formula that even adds to, that it's like almost like 3 steps. Like first you need to be patient instead of just reacting to something. Look deeper, stay calm, stay in control, don't let emotions overwhelm you. Then you can persist on the path that you're going, and also learn along the way. And this is how you then actually at the end make the progress. And at the end, even you're having this moving towards the identity shift. So man, this is amazing. I love it.
Right, right. Yeah. Oh man, we can really talk like for a long time. But for me, I'm curious about you. But first, for me, my takeaway for this, it will be the persistent part, that coming closer to you, right? You're able to persist, and after 15 years, you achieve that. So the time does not matter as much, but uh, but the heart, because that our body. This remind, I have so many stories, so many things to talk about. Do you know that even though our physical body, it's strong, it's powerful, when we ourselves lose the will to live, which is the connection to ourselves, to our heart, to our soul, to our essence, then we'll die very, very fast and very soon. You know, and for some people, even though they have cancer, they have diseases that mean death sentence to them of a weak body. When the will is so strong, guess what happened? They persevere. So I really, really love that part about your persistence and your perseverance, and I make it in 15 years. such an example. So that's my takeaway. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing that. And yeah, like this is the beauty of it. I didn't even realize that my story could be, could be such a great example. But yeah, you're right. And sometimes, those things where we don't see our own things that are actually great, right? Um, but yeah, definitely, I would join you on this point because, like I said before, I think persistence is one of the things that's really lacking most, especially when we talk about resolutions. And so, yeah, I'm very curious about you guys. Like, what are your insights? What are your thoughts? What are your stories about resolutions, about persistence, patience, or everything basically that we talked about today? Because if anything came up for you, if something sparked your thoughts, then please share them with us. Or if something sparked questions, share your question with us because we want to co create this space together with you. And so I hope that if you making resolutions or really going after a goal for this year, then I hope this today helped you making a mental shift to actually moving towards it. And so I'm out. I just want to say, remember who you are and see you guys next week.
And remember the power of creation you possess, guy. You got it. All right, make it happen. It's your years. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.